So I used a rust hammer paint, metal paint. Tremclad has a good product as well. Or is that a Tremclad? That's a Rust-Oleum product, or I don't say it right probably, but it's close. And so a friend had this sitting in their backyard. The top had long warped and buckled and separated and was no good. But the legs sanded up and cleaned up, sprayed down, look quite nice. So this is the base. It'll be a 36-inch radius circle table, circle top. And so I showed you the wood I'm going to use for the top. And I'll show you what it looks like when it all gets done in different stages along the way. There you go. So this is the stick I've had for years, and I just add little notches in it where I want. So that's my 18-inch notch, so a 36-inch radius, and then just spin it around, you know, all the way around, and stick the pencil in there, and then you get a beautiful radius. And this is my very old DeWalt, DeWalt? Is that a DeWalt skill? I don't even know what it is. The label's long gone. Yeah, it was a cheap jigsaw, but not too cheap. But the first thing that broke was this thing, so I made a aluminum pad to hold in the jigsaw blade. And I use Bosch blades, so use a good blade. But I grind off the little tabs on them so that I can slip them in. So if you're going to use a jigsaw, it's totally cool. Now I'm going to take my time and stay away from the line by about 1/8 of an inch so that the blade doesn't wander underneath. But with a good blade and you take your time, you can actually do amazing radius cuts. So, but the key is good blade. The jigsaw itself, I've always just had this. It's worked for years. You can tell by the look of it. At any rate, and so I'm ready to cut out the table. Okay, I forgot. It's a Black & Decker, my jigsaw. Anyway, so that's it roughed out. You can see I came close to the line. Really close over here, which is closer than I want, but that's okay. That's where I'll bring the router bit down so that it starts trimming there. So now I need to do the setup for the router. I'll pin it into the center mark here, which is easy to do, by the way. You just take your tape measure, half the distance across your square, hold your tape measure locked in, use the end of it and put a little tick with with a pencil, and then go to the other side, do the same, go from each side, and you get center really easy that way. At any rate, yep, more later. Okay, so I've arranged 2 screws to fit on the base. This is just an old piece of door skin, so I'll go to 18 inches from the blade, not from the center, from the actual edge of the router bit. Mark that, and I'll run a screw through there, and I'll set it into the table, trim off the rest of the ply there, and I'll have a jig that will give me a circle. Okay, just to give you an idea here, you can see it's screwed to the center of the table. You can see that the bit I have is not the right size, but that's okay because I'll be using another bit, a bearing bit, that will run off this surface. So I'm a little bit proud from the bottom down. I'm not getting all the way through, but like I say, that's the top. So this will clean up quite nicely when I do the next set of routering. So I've been all the way around. It's officially sort of a round table. I'm going to use the router bit on here as well. At this then I will not need this jig to do that because, like I say, the bearing will follow. Just around this bottom edge a bit and make it less sharp. And then I'll have a larger cove bit for a nice finish edge on the top. Okay, lots of dust flying in the air. That's because I just finished this. So this is roughly the profile. It does require some sanding, and it's just kind of interesting. It requires more sanding than when you use hardwood and whatnot. And this is just, remember, rough pine. It's a tabletop from the original deck wood. So I thought I'd... very dusty. Oh my goodness. There we go. Now you can see the grain a bit. But once it's antiqued and everything, it should look pretty hot. Oh boy, lots of dust flying around. Okay, so that's the top all stained, antiqued, dust flying around. I'm going to try a little video without the flash. But lots of character, you can see. The edging turned out nice. It's just something a little different. And that stain has to dry. And then tomorrow I will varnish it. Okay, probably much nicer without the flash blinding out or washing out the look of the wood. So like I said, this is just old deck wood. Literally half of it was rotted, or at least the top inch was pretty rough, so I cut off both ends and made up some lumber. But so by antiquing it, I hide the fact that there were nail holes and so forth. And this bottom of the table was given to us. It had been outside, and its top had warped and fallen off more or less. So I cleaned that up and sanded the legs a bit and painted them, and so we end up with a nice casual table. It's intended as a card table when it's all said and done. There you go.